Welcome, everyone. Hi, thank you for coming. My name is Kate Williams, and I'm the Career Development Facilitator here at Anderson School of Management. Probably I've already bothered you a lot in some of your classes. We've been obviously promoting our Career Week events for the past about week and a half. And so I'm thrilled that all of you have really taken the initiative today to take that next step towards career development and made that investment in yourselves to come and learn about the exciting topic of networking. And whenever I say that topic's exciting, people like to look away from me because most of you don't believe me that it really is exciting. But today, hopefully, we're going to remove the fear factor a little bit. All of you should have some great handouts. You're really going to take away some really tangible strategies that you can use that are based on your personality and that are going to help empower you to network in a way that makes sense for you and to network in a way that makes sense for you to help reach your career goals. So we're really excited to bring this programming to you. All right, so before we get started, I just want to recognize a few wonderful partners of ours. We are so fortunate to have local employers and community partners who help to sponsor us and to bring the type of content and programming that really will help you in your professional careers. So the first folks I just want to introduce and say hello to and welcome are Tyler Ortiz and Lauren Rockwell from Northwestern Mutual. And Marnie is here, hooray, from Northwestern Mutual, making a wonderful entrance. They are our event sponsors today, and they are going to be hosting and providing some wonderful commentary for our upcoming fashion show that we're going to have today to give you some tips and tricks for career fair fashion do's and don'ts. And so it's with the help of folks like Northwestern Mutual that we're able to provide this type of programming. So please help me welcome the Northwestern Mutual team to Anderson. Thank you. Thank you. They also have lots of experience recruiting and will be providing some great feedback to enhance our programming today. And I'd also now at this point like to recognize we have a member of the National Society of Hispanic MBAs with us, Matthew Duran. Give a little wave, Matthew. And I'm going to invite Matthew up to the podium just for a few minutes to talk a little bit about Nashimba, the event, and anything else that he would like to say. So let's please help me welcome Matthew. I think this guy is yours.
I don't need a mic, actually.
I think it's a recording, and I think
okay.
you need to. Sorry.
All right. As Kate had introduced me, my name is Matthew Duran, and I would first off like to apologize for anybody who came yesterday. This guy doesn't update his elevator speech, so you'll be hearing basically the same thing. I'm the current Executive Vice President of the National Society of Hispanic MBAs, or as some of you may know it, as the Nashimba organization. It sounds kind of, I guess, African, but it's the National Society of Hispanic MBAs. So it's called that, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be Hispanic or even have to be in an MBA program. It's just, as our CEO likes to call it, an added bonus, because you can apply for the Nashimba Scholarship. And what that is a $10,000 scholarship to attend an accredited MBA school. And I mean, $10,000, I did the math for everybody yesterday. Here it'd be about $3,000 a semester or $6,000 a year. And again, I'm not a mathematician or an accountant, but that's about $4,000 left over. So by a show of hands, who would like $4,000 just extra? So you
Can
could
I
pay.
raise my hand too?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure. You can pay rent, and you can put that money to use wherever you would like. And I personally, I have an awesome story, and it involves $10,000. I apply for it, and you have to be a premier member of the organization, and pays for your MBA. I left my business card on each table, and I know that there are 4 to 5 to a table now, so you guys can fight over it later. I'm just kidding. Get a hold of me, and we can chat. We'll play a round of golf, whatever. Just give me a call, give me an email. We'll talk about the whole organization, how you can get involved, and how you can end up getting a scholarship from it. So thank you very much for letting me speak today, and good luck at the career fair.
Great. Thank you, Matthew. Thanks. Thanks. So that's just one example of the type of strategic connection that you really can make. So with people like Matthew, with people like the team from Northwestern Mutual, these are the types we're going to be talking about strategic relationship mapping a little bit later in the program. I want you guys to be thinking about the types of people who will enhance your professional network and help you move towards your goals. Okay, that's really what the end result of networking is going to be all about. And of course, getting involved with great organizations like Nishimba and with other. We have 11 student organizations here on just at Anderson School that are really designed to help you professionalize yourselves, get connected, get that networking experience going. So I'd really encourage all of you to make those connections. And remember that as our partners and our sponsors are circulating around, as they will be at these events and also at the career fair, do take the initiative and go up and thank them. You know, they're taking time out of their days, and they're also well positioned in the community to be really strategic partners for you. That's why they're here. That's why they partnered with our office. They actually want you to do that. They will tell you that later on today. Wonderful. So I just want to give a brief overview of this event before we dive in. I'm going to talk with you for about 35 minutes about all of the different facets of networking. So again, I know that that's a term that usually is pretty heavily loaded for a lot of people. How many people in this room would consider themselves an introvert? Okay, so that means, okay, a lot of hands went up. Okay, that's kind of what I was surmising, and the whole reason, one of the reasons that we develop programming specifically such as career fair networking tips is for people who are scared to network, don't feel like they know how to network. So we're going to be going by and kind of deconstructing what networking is, what networking isn't, and then some real strategies to help you craft your message. And really, what is the purpose of networking? Okay, so we're going to be, all today we're going to be talking about making connections. We're going to be talking about developing partnerships and some real concrete ways to do that. So when you do go into the career fair, you feel professional and you feel prepared, okay? And you feel ready to make that really great first impression. Then, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, we're going to have a little break, and we're going to have our wonderful team from Northwestern Mutual provide some great commentary on fashion do's and don'ts. So I don't know if any of you were around in 2010 here at Anderson, but when we polled local employers about some of their areas of opportunity for Anderson students, over 20% of employers that we polled specifically mentioned students arriving to interviews or for networking events wearing flip-flops as one of their top pet peeves. 20% of employers. I see a lot of smiles and some giggling. It's a little bit funny, but it's also very concerning from a career development standpoint. So we did want to include a little bit of a mention, focus on fashion and some do's and don'ts, because even though we live in Albuquerque and I know we have a reputation for being a little bit more casual, we really want you to step up your game. You're business students, you're at the business school, and we want you to challenge to look and feel and present your best way. And so we partner with Banana Republic to do this fashion show. We're really excited. And someone just told me that after last night's event, they got an email that Banana Republic is 40% off. I had nothing to do with that, but if you see that in your email, I'll just take a little credit for that as well. And then after that, we're going to open it back up for some questions. Just have a little bit of a Q&A so that you guys can really feel like if I haven't covered your question or your burning concern, or you're still terrified and I haven't convinced you that you can do this, that's going to be the opportunity for you guys to really get connected with us, okay? And then we're going to conclude. So with that, I would like to just kick things off by talking about what networking is. And because I'm an extrovert who can't stop talking, we've already kind of covered it. But I just want to propose a little definition or a little bit of a framing statement for you to start thinking about networking. So I know that a lot of things probably come to mind when we're thinking about networking. For some, it may be terror. For some, it may be, why do I even need to do this? Especially, I can just go and find them on LinkedIn. And for other people, maybe you're just not sure exactly what the purpose is or if you're even qualified to network. Sometimes I hear that a lot. Everyone is qualified to network. So if that's your concern, you can dismiss it. Networking is the creation of mutually beneficial strategic relationships for a certain outcome. Okay, so let's deconstruct that a little bit. So the creation part, the relationship cultivation. When you're at the career fair, what we're going to encourage you to do is actually go with a list of people that you'd like to talk to. This is when we're going to be talking in a few minutes about strategic relationship mapping. This is the construction of not just what your network is now, but what would you like your network to look like? Who are some good targets? Who are some good target companies? Who would be strategic for you to develop that relationship with? Because networking is not just an introduction. It's planting the seed of that relationship that's hopefully going to flourish into something that will be, as we said in the second part of the definition, mutually beneficial, okay, for a certain outcome. So for most people, that outcome is I would like a job or I would like an internship. But remember, we're talking about this being a mutually beneficial interaction. There's a lot of learning and teaching that goes on as you engage in this networking sort of interaction, okay? So you have this opportunity to share what is wonderful about yourself, all of your unique constellation of skills, abilities, experiences, values that you are then sharing with that employer for their benefit. So remember, all of you are wonderful candidates and you are sharing your gifts with that employer, okay? That's the benefit. That's where that mutually beneficial relationship really comes into play. So that learning and teaching, I'd encourage you, if you're thinking about networking, you're not sure the purpose, or maybe it still feels really scary, I'd encourage you to reframe it as a learning and teaching moment. Place it in that educational context and think about the value that you are imparting. Okay, that's what I encourage you to say right off the bat. I also think it's important when we're talking about what networking is to talk a little bit about what networking isn't. These are some of the more common, I think, misconceptions about networking that I hear. The number one thing that I hear about networking, why people don't want to do it, is that they think it's a little manipulative. Does anybody feel a little bit sketchy about networking, like you're not, it doesn't feel quite right, or you're not? Yeah, so not a lot of hands going up. It's something that I do hear in my office that you feel like, well, is it even polite to go up and just kind of brazenly sell myself and sort of position myself for a job? The answer is networking can be done in sort of a manipulative manner, but good networking, strategic networking, the type of networking that we're talking about today is not designed to be manipulative. Remember that piece about it being a mutually beneficial relationship. You're a wonderful candidate, and you can provide value to that organization. So think about that when you're approaching that situation, and that takes the fear of it being manipulative out of the equation. Networking is not only for extroverts. So I am a very strong extrovert, so for my personality type, the number one criticism is stop talking. And I can tell you that my husband, who's the strongest introvert that you could ever meet, would definitely say that that is very fair criticism of his wife. And I think that a lot of people, when they think about networking and they think about why they don't want to do it, think that, well, I'm a shy person, I don't know what I would say, I'm just, I'm going to let the people who really know how to work the room, I'm just going to leave it to them. Absolutely not. Introverts have a lot of strengths, and everyone in this room is going to network a different way, and that's totally okay. All of you have different strengths and abilities. And so today we're not going to be talking about just one type of networking. We're going to be talking about networking as it makes sense to you and as it feels comfortable to you. So introverts, I'm not going to, require that you stand up and start dancing or something as part of your networking, or something that would completely terrify you even more. But we're going to talk about ways that you can do that make sense for your personality type, okay? So it's not just for extroverts, it's not just for the people who are really super outgoing. Okay, the last thing that I want to say about what networking is not is that it is not optional. So that was one of the reasons that we wanted to hold 2 of these workshops, because people, I will often hear in my office, well, it's not as important to make those connections. I can find them on LinkedIn. I can find them on Facebook. Absolutely not, and I know the recruiters have their own stories today. That's why we still hold events like career fairs, because there is no replacement, even in this digital age, for that face-to-face contact. So having these skills, even if you're someone who's here today for more professional development, you will continue to network throughout your entire professional careers. You will network within your organization and outside your organization for different goals. Networking is always going to be context dependent. And so these skills that you're going to start learning and developing today will serve you throughout your entire career progression. But it's not optional, and you can't escape it, and there is no computer program, Siri or otherwise, does not take the place of networking. Okay, and some of the reasons that it's not optional, and I've already mentioned, for your professional development, career trajectory, it's also going to help you access that hidden job market, what's known as the hidden job market. Does anyone have a sense of what percentage of jobs are never advertised anywhere? No websites, not Monster, nothing. You think 60%? Anybody think a different number? 80%. Okay, yes. And Adam is actually much closer to the mark. It's estimated, and of course there's some give and take, that around 80% of all jobs and internship opportunities that are currently available, and this may even include some of the people who are going to be at the career fair, are never advertised anywhere. So if you are only focusing your job search on what you can find online, on websites, which of course are wonderful resources, you're going to be missing out on a huge chunk of possibilities for yourself. So that potential to network your way, and we have examples of people who come to our events, for example, our speed interviewing event, if any of you are signed up for that. We had 4 people walk away last spring with a job or an internship opportunity that our office never heard about, but that because of that connection, they walked away with that opportunity. Okay, it's really, really powerful stuff. And opportunities are all around us. Literally, one of the things that I hear all the time in my office is that people feel like they don't have a professional network, or that theirs isn't big enough, or it's not professional enough, or they haven't ever networked. And I say, really? Have you ever met anyone before? Have you introduced yourself to anyone in an Anderson class? Do you know any professors? Your network is already bigger than you think it is, but I want to challenge all of you today to be strategic about how to enhance it, to identify those gaps and fill them in by talking to a recruiter from your target company, or talking to a fellow classmate who's maybe had that experience that you haven't had yet, okay? So those opportunities are all around us. And partnership development, strategic management, how many people have taken 498 or 598 in the room? Okay, so some people, everybody over here has. So here at business school, one of the real strengths of our curriculum is that so many classes focus on strategy, focus on partnership development, focus on all of these academic skills that you will learn for use in the business context. And somehow there's often this disconnect between all of you are really super skilled at using that in the academic sort of context, but somehow you draw a blank when it comes to applying those great skills to yourself. So marketing students, use what you're learning in class to market yourself on a resume and in a networking situation. When you're taking those classes, when you're learning about high-level vision and you're creating a small business plan, or you're doing a consulting project in one of your classes, think about you yourself as a client, okay? Take yourself on as a project. That's what your professional development is all about, okay? Awesome. Okay, so now I want to turn to our first handout, which is networking for your personality type. So remember I told you guys I'm not a big advocate of a cookie cutter approach to networking. I'm not going to give everybody the same elevator speech, and I don't advocate that approach. I want everyone to start where they are and start what they're comfortable doing. So just a little exercise. So extrovert, introvert. How many people have had Myers-Briggs done? Okay. So how many people, based on that, know that they're an introvert? Okay, so I think some more hands will go up. How many people would consider yourselves an introvert? And when I say introvert, I'm not talking necessarily about how shy you are. I'm talking about where you get your energy. So if the idea of doing what I'm doing right now, which as an extrovert really invigorates me because I'm in a room full of people and it's better than 4 cups of coffee early in the morning, if that is not where you get your energy, if you prefer to be a little bit more introspective, if you get your energy by recharging your batteries and being by yourself, that means that you likely identify more with an introvert. So based on that definition, how many people in this room would consider themselves introverts? Okay, wow, a lot of hands going up in the room. And how many people would consider yourself extroverts? So you love the idea of doing what I'm doing right now. The idea of going and meeting new people is really energizing. After an event like this, you're not going to need to go hide yourself away, but you're going to want to, go run or go, meet even more people. Okay, so we've got a pretty big split, which is not super surprising. Introverts would typically be drawn to an event like this because this is a skill set that they want to hone. Okay, so let's talk about, because I have more of my introverts, let's focus on some of the things that you guys are pretty good at. So how many of my introverts think that you are really pretty good listeners? You like to listen before you talk? Does that sound pretty right? Okay. Introverts typically, and again, I'm going to be painting with a wide brush here, guys, so some of this may not apply to you at all. Introverts have real strengths, and for both personality types, I'm really going to call on you to think about what your strengths are and how you can leverage that in networking. Okay, introverts are typically great listeners. You guys typically love to think before you talk. This often leads to people characterizing you as being shy or not as outgoing as some other people, but it's a real valuable skill, okay, and we'll talk about that. Typically, introverts create deep relationships based on a thorough understanding of the other person's point of view. So hopefully you're starting to see how that could possibly be really beneficial in a networking situation when we're talking about that give and take and that mutually beneficial relationship. Introverts typically have a better understanding of what the other person is all about because they've actually taken the 30 seconds to stop talking, which is something that me, as an extrovert, has a lot of difficulty doing. And through that, they are typically able to gain valuable information about their contact and their company. Okay, so they're really able to assimilate that information and use it in a way that's really valuable. Some areas of opportunity. Okay, so tell me if this is ringing true. Some introverts can be construed as quiet, aloof, or disinterested. They're not. If you have an introvert who you know and love in your life, you probably know that they are a warm and wonderful person, but because they get their energy from within, that's their source of energy and strength, they typically need a little bit more time than we extroverts who are really in your face, kind of like an excited golden retriever puppy is how I sometimes will describe myself. They may have difficulty initiating conversations. So some of you may be in this room today because that's a huge part of networking is actually walking up to someone, sticking out your hand and facilitating that introduction. Sometimes that can be challenging for them. But again, we're going to talk about strategies, how you can work around that. And another area of opportunity, they may avoid networking events altogether. Okay, this is probably the biggest one that you don't feel like you belong, you're not sure what you would do there. And that's why I just want to commend you again for taking the initiative and coming here today. Underneath, you'll see some strategies. I won't go through all of them. One of the best ways to do it, and this is an overall strategy for the career fair, go with a buddy, go with a partner. Frankie and Leslie are going to all of these events together, not to call you guys out too much, but because that's a partnership, right? So it's going to be less intimidating if you're going with a partner. And better yet, if you can pair yourself up with an extrovert and model what that extrovert is doing, you can start to see how it's done. So because introverts like to think before they act, if you have a model who's actually going out there and doing it for you, it becomes a little bit easier, a little bit more accessible, just to see how other people are doing it. The biggest thing I think for my introverts in the room is enhancing your confidence through preparation. So all of you can see on I'm just gonna grab one of these. I know I'm going out of frame, I'm sorry. We have a whole list of companies who will be at the career fair next week, okay? This is going to be your best friend and your guiding star, okay? You can do so much preparation before the career fair and before any career event just by finding out who's going to be there. This is a critical component. You can hop on Lobo Career Connection to see what positions they have open, and in a little while we're going to be handing out some worksheets that will actually help focus you in on some questions that you would develop to bring with you. But you will feel more confident the more prepared you are. I promise this will happen. It happens through practice, it happens through research, and it happens by having a really thorough goal that you have for this event. Preparing questions in advance and preparing some answers. So a lot of networking situations are really kind of scripted. You can basically assume how they're going to go. You have to introduce yourself. You have to say a little bit about yourself and some other things like that that we'll be practicing later on today. So there's not going to be a whole lot of curveballs, or there shouldn't be. I shouldn't say there never will be. But there probably won't be a whole lot of curveballs. You basically can anticipate how it's going to go. And the more that you practice and the more prepared you are, the better able that you'll be to initiate that conversation. Developing a list of strategic contacts. Again, use what you're given and practice your pitch. Okay? All of that is advice for my introverts. Okay. Now, extroverts. This was really fun for me. So extrovert strengths typically have an easier time commanding a room. So where are my extroverts again? Raising your hand up? Okay, wonderful. Yep, I know most of my extroverts actually in this room already. What a big surprise. So typically they're the type of people who can walk into the room and command their attention. They're usually very outgoing. They're the type of people who make connections easily and naturally. And they're the type of people that when we think about people who are great networkers, the image that you have in your mind is probably of an extrovert, okay? But that is not to say I have a nice long list of extrovert areas of opportunity. We can trip ourselves up just like the introverts, just in a different way. So, and extroverts, tell me if I'm hitting on some things that maybe have been said about you. Extrovert areas of opportunity can talk about themselves too much. We love to talk and we love to dominate a conversation. I had a guest speaker in my class the other day, and I practically had to put masking tape over my mouth so that I wouldn't jump in and say, oh yes, and then another point that I wanted to mention. No, Kate, calm down, take it down a couple of notches. It's not all about extroverts, what they have to say and their opinions all of the time. It's not your own news channel. Okay, they can have trouble listening. So remember when we're talking about what networking isn't, and it's not supposed to be manipulative, it's supposed to be that mutually beneficial, sometimes it's hard for us because we get so excited about that new connection that we don't take the time to stop and listen, and that can be really challenging for our audience. Or worse, you may walk away and have no idea what your follow-up is, or what did I even talk about, because you were so excited about making that connection. Also easy to get distracted, okay? So because we're so excited, because we're invigorated by making new connections, the prospect of more people coming through the door for us to make connections is also invigorating, but that means that our attention can kind of wander sometimes. So if you're an extrovert and that's describing you, keep that in mind. Strategies for my extroverts. So you'll see I'm all about partnerships and duality. Learn from the introverts. So again, great idea to take a buddy to the career fair. Partner with an introvert and watch how they work the room. They might be in the back, but they're probably thinking, or they probably got their full list after their workshop with us today of people that they want to talk to and what their strategy is. So extroverts, take a breath, take a step back, and watch what they're doing. Watch that strategic approach instead of just jumping into the water. Avoid distractions. So I love this tip. Imagine that you will be tested on the information that your connection is presenting to you. So imagine there's a pop quiz after that person is presenting about their company or about what they're doing, and that will focus your attention on that person exclusively. And encourage other people to speak first. So if you're an extrovert and you're walking up to somebody at the career fair, maybe before you launch into your entire 30-second commercial, maybe you want to ask them a question before, if you know that about yourself. I know that that's something that I struggle to do, that I need even a little bit more coaching myself. This is all a work in progress. So that is your very own strategy sheet for you to take with you. And hopefully some of that advice kind of rings true, and some of those strategies will be useful for you to put into place. So I want you to take a look at this. There's lots more resources that you can find online if you're feeling like maybe some of this wasn't relevant, but more about your personality type. And of course, if you have had that Myers-Briggs done, there's lots more research that's been done about the different ways that the 16 different personality types can really best optimize their relationship creation and cultivation. Okay, so moving right along. So now that we've identified some things that we need to think about as we're thinking about approaching the career fair, let's continue to design that strategic approach. So I'd just like everybody to pull out their strategic relationship mapping and networking worksheet. We are just full of worksheets today. I really wanted to make sure that you guys went home with some tangible information, because I know I'm a very high level person. That's where do you not have one? The table doesn't have one? Okay. Does anyone have extra? You guys don't have any? Does anyone have this one? Strategic, maybe we did not make copies. Okay. Well, I'm the only one who has one. Are there copies on the table there? Okay. Oh, there's a big stack that didn't make it on the table. So here's my extrovert volunteering to help me, right? Thank you. Okay, so as she is passing these out, we're going to talk about the 5 steps that are on this sheet of paper, okay? So this is what I want everyone, introvert, extrovert, this is what I'd like you to do, okay? So it starts with, actually, let me grab that from you. I'll get the other side of the room. Okay, so being strategic. So networking is about strategy. And the career fair, if you've never been, thank you, if you've never been to the career fair, it can be really overwhelming. There are going to be close to 60 employers there, and that's not including all of the accounting folks who will be there as well. Does everyone have a sheet now, or is getting a sheet? Okay, wonderful. Sorry about that, guys. I think we're good. Awesome, thank you, thank you. Okay. So the career fair can be really an overwhelming place if you go in and you're not prepared. And you're not prepared with what you want to say, and you're not prepared with what your goals are. And what I want everyone to do is I want you to take this sheet and I want you to start creating your own strategic plan for how you're going to work that career fair. So we still have a few exercises to get to, of course. But the first thing is assess where you're at today. Okay, for most of the people in this room, oh, I'm sorry, I think we missed one person. For most of the people in this room, probably a lot of you are going to the career fair because you want to make a connection. It's going to be helpful for you in obtaining a job or an internship. That's great, but start with that knowledge, okay? Start with that place of assessment so that you're really clear on what your goals are. Because the more clear you are about what you want, the better able you will be to articulate that to your audience so that they'll know how they can help you. Okay, so be really, really solid in that assessment piece. Are you looking for a job? Are you looking for an internship? Are you just going to do some research? All of those are great goals. Not everyone's goal is going to be the same, but it's important to assess to know where you're starting. Okay, second part, set those goals. So once you've assessed, you know what you're trying to do, what you need to learn, you're assessing your current sort of relationships that you have going on. You're going to set goals and identify the people or the companies who are going to help you reach them. So working off of that list, what are your top companies that you want to connect with that day? Okay, go to their websites. Start working on your goals based on the company information that you have. That's one of the great things about, the internet and all the information that we have access to today. This information is not hidden. You may even be able to look up some of the recruiters who will be there on LinkedIn and find out some information. Okay, but setting goals and identifying the people who will help you reach them at the career fair will hone your focus. So you're not just going in and sort of going from table to table and feeling really confused. Be strategic. This is about strategic relationship development. Okay, you can start to create a relationship map. This may be more or less relevant depending on what your goals are for the career fair. But I'd also like everyone to be thinking about who do you currently know and who would you like to know, okay? And that's what a website like LinkedIn can do to provide that visual representation of how you're connected to someone at a target company or how you're connected to someone who's going to help you for professional development. But you can also keep a list of targets. Some introverts in this room who are very detail-oriented may already have a list going of some people that they'd like to talk to ultimately in the future, or some companies that they would like to make a strategic connection with. Based on that, you will start building this map of people who are really well situated to help you launch your professional career. It's kind of, we had someone describe it yesterday as someone who was building their own board of directors for their own personal company. And I love that. I love thinking about it that way. You are compiling the people around you who will help you launch so that you're not in it together. Okay, from the relationship map where you've identified those opportunities, then you start to build the relationships. So that's steps 4 and 5. So building the relationships and really reaching out to people at the career fair, but again, in a really, really strategic way, okay? So now that everybody has this handout, I'm so glad. Please keep it and use it to, and the relationship map can look however you want it to. If you want to keep it online, offline, Post-its, write it on the back of your hand, probably not, but any way that it's going to help you to keep yourself organized. Okay, so does anybody have any questions so far? I do want to challenge all of you to come up with 3 questions that you'd like to ask. And so the question of what to ask is a great one. And to another extent, it's going to depend on what your goals are when you're working through that exercise. But some examples of great questions to ask, again, kind of depending on your situation, would be about professional development within a firm, Maybe even do a little bit of research on the company website. Show them that you know something about them already. This is something we definitely heard from the Northwestern team yesterday. Read their mission statement and try to work that into conversation, okay? Ask a question about, is this a company who is expanding in the Southwest, and what are their plans for doing that? Is this, are there internship opportunities that are available there, or any other? I mean, there's so many questions that are just kind of flooding me right now. Can anybody else think of a great question that you might want to ask somebody when you're networking? No one wants to talk? Anybody? Yeah.
Help pay for me to get my master's.
Help pay for you to get your master's. Okay, so I might not lead off with that one, but I think that you could maybe say, when you are networking, I saw on your website that you have a tuition remission program for professional development. Could I learn a little bit more about that program? I think that would be something that would be appropriate to ask. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So remember that you are promoting your own values proposition to them. So it's not just about what they can do for you, but about what you can do for them. And that is going to generate a whole lot of questions for you. Of course, if you have any other questions about what's appropriate to ask, what's not appropriate to ask, that's what our office is here for, and that's what the Northwestern team today is here to help kind of find that line. Okay. So I don't know about you, but I'm getting a little bit sick of hearing me talk. So I want to start off with an exercise. It's a little bit silly. It's kind of basic. We're going to start off strong and start talking about first impressions. So first of all, everybody get up out of their seats first, okay? Making that first impression, walking in. Okay. All right, fantastic. So everybody shake. Everybody get a little oxygen going. Okay. First thing, so Isaac, can I just pull you up for a quick, okay. I know Isaac, so I'm picking on him a little bit. Okay, first thing I want to call everyone's attention to that we're going to practice, eye contact. So does this look very impressive? And I know maybe the other side of the room can't see me, but if I'm introducing myself to Isaac and I'm looking at his actually really pretty nice sneakers, but if maybe I'm looking over there at the computer screen. Do you think that's making a very good impression? Do you think Isaac, am I impressing you currently right now? No, not really. You're not interested at all. And it doesn't have to be that egregious, right? It doesn't have to be that egregious of an example. It could just be looking a little bit over his shoulder. Make eye contact with that person. Hi, Isaac.
Hi,
I'm
Kate.
Kate Williams.
How are
So
you?
nice to meet you. How did that feel? Pretty good, right? Eye contact. First thing. If you're not doing it, trust me, the recruiters are going to pay attention to it. They're going to notice. Thank you, Isaac. Okay. Second thing, let's see. Okay, I want everyone to take a deep breath in. This is for all my yoga classes. Anyone taking that? Okay, relax those shoulders down, arms straight at your sides, not like a ramrod, not like that, but so that you're relaxed and you feel confident. You've got your chest lifted, you have good oxygen flow, and you have good posture. This looks so much better and exudes confidence, and I think that all of us just doing this exercise, I feel a little bit more confident myself, just kind of standing up straight. It sounds like a small thing. I know it sounds really basic, but we're going over it because we get questions about it, and because when I see people at the career fair, they are not doing it, and I'm sure the recruiters would back me up on this one. Okay, so not like this, not with your backpack weighting you down, not anything like that. Standing tall, upright, and confident. You are going to exude that professional presence. All of you are doing it so great. I wish I could take a picture right now. This is great. Okay, strong handshake. So everybody turn to the person next to you, and let's do a little handshake exercise.
Callie, nice to meet you.
Hi, Isaac. Good handshake. You have a great handshake. Go and meet Miss Jessica. All right. Do you? Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, just grab all of your handouts, though. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. I saw a lot of good handshaking going on. We practice the handshake for a lot of reasons. One is because I was a recruiter for 2 years, and I cannot tell you how many people I nicknamed because of their poor handshakes. And yesterday, Brad from Northwestern Mutual, who is not here today, but he introduced me to something that especially the ladies have to watch out for, and I didn't see it happening. But it's the half handshake. Frankie, can I just pull you up a little bit? Okay. So ladies especially, we have to be aware of this guy. So it's this. It's the one, almost like I would be asking Frankie to maybe kiss my hand. Very formal. Good on Downton Abbey, not good in networking. You want to give the full handshake. Good. Frankie's got a really good handshake. But ladies especially, no dead fish. Give it that firm handshake. It says something about you. I know this probably seems basic, but I'm saying it because I have been to a lot of networking events with Anderson students, and I see a lot of people not doing it, okay? And you want the recruiter to remember you for a good reason and not because you're the clammy dead fish person. If you're perspiring, that's completely fine. Do a little discreet wipe, that's fine, you know, every germ conscious. No one expects that you're going to be completely calm, okay? But don't give them the cold, wet, dead fish going on. Don't give them the half Downton Abbey. I'm going to call it the Downton Abbey handshake now. And really make sure that your handshake is a great expression of you. Okay, everyone can take a seat. All right, so now, and just remember, guys, this is the first message that you're sending to your new connection. This might be the first time that you're meeting the person who's going to give you your dream job. Do you really want to give them a tragic handshake? I know that you don't. Okay, so the next piece, so the next things that I want to call your attention to, and I know that I've got a ton of worksheets going on, but that's because I think when we talk about networking, at least for me, it gets really high level really fast. And I know that I have a lot of business students in here who like details, so that's what all the handouts are about. So the next piece that we're going to move into, we're going to actually start practicing what's called our 30-second commercials. So now that hopefully you guys are maybe feeling a little bit better about what networking is, what it's designed to do, really being strategic about it, usually when I'm going around and talking to people about why they're afraid of networking, it's because they don't know what they're going to say. So these next few exercises are going to be about helping you figure out what on earth you will say. Okay. Remember that preparation and research are your keys to success. So we talked about doing this in the context of knowing who you would like to connect with at the career fair and going prepared with some questions. But that now we're going to turn that inward. So the introverts are probably like, oh, goody, we're going to be doing some self-reflection. Hooray. But then you have to talk about it. So not so much hooray, but you can do it. So hooray again. Okay. Preparation. Thanks for the pity laugh, guys. Preparation and research are your keys to success. So knowing yourself, having done that hard work of knowing what you're great at, and also coupling it with what is relevant in your industry. So you may have something that's completely fantastic that you do that nobody else can do, but if it's not relevant in your industry or to your target employer, it's probably not something that you want to talk about, okay? So know yourself and know your industry and know something about your context. That's what we're talking about as far as research goes. Okay, so again, checking out that Lobo career connection, preparing yourself with 3 questions. Now, I know that probably when I just said know something about your industry so that you know a little bit about what's important to them, again, we're not assuming that you're coming into this event with any of that knowledge. But remember that you can use the list that's on the table in front of you to go, all of these organizations have websites with mission statements and clients and services and things that they provide. All of that information is easily accessible, okay? So you may not know necessarily what types of positions are being offered, but you can do a lot of research about the firm, and that can help shape your questions. Okay, now, the other piece of that, so once you have some sort of understanding about your industry, whether it's finance or marketing, entrepreneurial studies, whatever you're going for, how can you match that up in what you're going to say about yourself? So we'll be talking about, trying to use 3 great adjectives to describe yourself in your 30-second commercial. You want to make sure that those adjectives are really relevant to your industry, okay? And if you're not sure how to do that, another great resource, so this one that has ONET up on top and then industry qualities and values, this is a little sheet for you to help start assessing yourself. Okay, you can use this website. You can use the websites of some of the companies who are going to be at the career fair to start making a list in this first column. If you're accounting, if you're marketing, whatever your industry is, figure out using this website and using these resources that are in front of you, talking to professors, using your own existing network to figure out what matters in that industry. In the second column, you can do a little assessment, smiley faces, hearts, meet or exceed, however you'd like to do that, so that you can start to figure out, you can get to those top 3 adjectives that not only are great selling points about you, but that are selling points about you that are relevant in your industry. And that's what this last column is for. coming up with some examples and things that you might say after you deliver that 30-second pitch. So especially for introverts who are worried, what happens after the conversation, after I deliver my little 30-second pitch, this will give you some more content, and bonus, you can use it on your resume, on your cover letter, and also in your interview situation. I am all about holistic preparations. So this little worksheet I use in a variety of contexts, but it really lends itself well to doing that self-assessment of what's going to be relevant in your industry so that you know you're not just going off the deep end and talking about something that, I don't know, maybe you have a passion for building model sailboats, but that's not necessarily relevant to the accounting firm. I don't know, maybe it is, but probably not. Okay. Now we're going to move into one of my favorite parts, and probably for some of you introverts, it's one of your least favorite parts, the 30-second commercial, okay? This is the crux of networking. This is what you're going to develop and that you will hone over your professional lives so that you will always have something to say in the networking context. And I've just sort of prompted, so if you don't have one that you're comfortable using, I've written some prompts, okay? The positioning statement. Who are you? Maybe you want to talk about the fact that most of you are students. Maybe you're an alumni who has some specific experiences Linda shared with us earlier. However you want to introduce yourself in a way that's relevant to that person, that's what goes up here, okay? Who is skilled at or has experience in. This is where you can start feeding from that other handout where you're drawing those adjectives that are relevant to your industry. Maybe you're talking about your creativity if you're in marketing. Maybe you're talking about how you're really detail-oriented and know how to use Peachtree and QuickBooks if you're an accounting student. Okay, but whatever it is that you want to talk about that's going to be relevant to that industry, that's what can go next. Then the last piece is critical, and I think it's a piece that most students are missing, actually probably most people who are networking, the follow-up. Remember that networking is all about creating that relationship, and it should include some follow-up steps. It should include an actionable item. So as much as you can, and again, as much as it makes sense to in that context, provide them with a follow-up. Maybe you'd like to set up an informational interview. Maybe you'd like to sit down with them for 20 minutes on the phone and get some more information about a position. But challenge yourself to come up with a follow-up so your introduction doesn't just kind of sit there in the air. Okay? So I'd like to take about the next 7 or 8 minutes for you all to start working on your own 30-second commercials. So take just a couple of minutes to brainstorm, and then we're going to start practicing, okay? So once you've got yours kind of set, I want you to meet a new person and practice your 30-second commercial on one another. So, and guys, let me know if you have any questions or you're not sure what content, but let's get going. Yeah. I would say your concentration. Yeah. And then depending on the company, so I think especially for you, it's really, have you thought about who you'd like to talk to at the career fair, or have you not? Okay. So I would say once you kind of thought about who would be sort of strategic for you to get in touch with, that would be how I would sort of present yourself, if that makes sense. It's really knowing that industry, I think, is going to be. But what are just some general adjectives? Like what are some things that an employer would like to know about you? What are you really good at? Great leadership or communication skills, or I think all of those things are really great. And this is just a framework. Yeah. This is just to get you to start. Is this helpful to have kind of the structure to think about it?
Look at our models. Looking good. Looking good. All right, so let's get this show started. It has been said that you have exactly 7 seconds to make a good first impression. And when you meet someone face-to-face, 93% of how you are judged is based on nonverbal data. So we're not really listening to what you're saying. That's what that means. We're looking at you. Your appearance and body language is really the primary things that are going to be in that nonverbal data. Your professional dress is critical as you prepare for your September 13th upcoming career fair and your professional career. Shop smart and develop your own personal style that communicates your brand. Look polished and you'll be dressed and ready for success. We want to extend a warm thank you to the team at Banana Republic for their help with our professional dress fashion show. Let's give some applause to Banana Republic.
Kayla Grafman and Naib Avizo, are looking smart in their business casual attire. Business casual is for those young professionals who need to be dressed in a casual yet corporate fashion, relaxing their business look without compromising professionalism or image.
And first up, we have Kayla. Kayla will be graduating in May, and she'll be leaving Albuquerque for Utah as she begins her career with Goldman Sachs. She has chosen a look that is both professional and fashion forward. It shows a flash of her personality with her maroon skinny leg pant, paired with a white camisole and white cotton wrap blouse. She takes her look from the classroom to the workplace by adding sophisticated accessories that pull her look together. These basic pieces from Banana Republic are a great starting point to creating a casual work look. The darker the color of the basic pants, the longer the shelf life of the clothing, and the more professional image she will present. Crisp white blouses are a must-have for the young business graduate starting her professional career. Looking good, Kayla.
All right. Naib is off to a great start with the new business casual look that includes style, authority, and yes, even comfort. Doesn't he look comfortable walking around right now? Naib has chosen black herringbone fitted pants, a solid crisp dress shirt, and a black thin gauge slim cut sweater that can be paired with anything. He's completed his sophisticated business look with black socks and black dress shoes. Pull up your pants, show those socks off. Naib adds style and color to his modern look with his salmon shirt. He has all the basics to build a mix and match business casual wardrobe that elevates his look from head to toe. Naib's attire communicates professionalism and competence. Thank you, Naib.
In the professional world, how you dress is an important component of the first impression. Hiring managers will make assumptions about professional credibility and potential performance based upon your appearance. Chanel Weesey and Brian Baker are dressed for success in their business professional or business formal attire from Banana Republic.
Okay, next up, Chanel. Chanel is a fashionable young woman. She's ready to take on the business world in her navy slim-cut pantsuit. Chanel's so-called power suit would be perfect for Albuquerque or Washington, D.C., where she would love to serve as HR director of a large hotel or airline company. Her suit is based on a neutral color palette. You see she's not wearing a hot pink or a lime green suit today. It's tailored to fit close to the body, but not tight, and her white blouse is feminine and fashionable, yet conservative and sharp. Chanel has chosen to accessorize with pearls rather than gaudy accessories. Her shoes are neutral, and they're not higher than a 3 to 4 inch heel. And her simple makeup and hairstyle complete a feminine, competent, and authoritative look. Now, if Chanel had chosen a skirt and a jacket, her skirt should hit at the knee, and she would wear pantyhose to complete her professional image. A recent article noted that a woman who bears too much skin at work is taken less seriously than her male counterpart. Interesting, ladies. Especially in an interview situation or when you are unsure, opt for pantyhose when wearing a business suit. Good job.
Last but not least, Brian, a junior accounting student, is projecting a well-groomed and clean-cut professional image in his solid suit by Banana Republic. He has chosen a traditional black tailored suit with long-sleeved button-down shirt and a small print tie. Don't wear short-sleeved dress shirts in a suit. His professional look is completed with a black belt, dark socks, and black leather shoes. Brian is definitely dressed for success, and upon graduation, I know Brian will be sporting his black suit and red power tie as he travels to New York City to land his dream job on Wall Street. You'll notice that Brian has left the bottom button of his suit unbuttoned. Due to the way men's suits are constructed, the bottom button is left open to ensure a proper fit and drape of the jacket. Typically, a man's suit remains buttoned until he sits, then it becomes necessary to unfasten the jacket. Once he stands again, the jacket should be refastened. Thank you, Brian. And let's give a hand to all 4 of our wonderful models today. They did a great job. And thank you once again to Banana Republic for these awesome threads.
A few additional things about the wardrobe I just wanted to point out, guys. I interview a lot of candidates, and there is nothing that will get you out of my office faster than smelling like smoke or being doused in cologne or perfume that gives me a headache because then I'm not going to want to talk to you very long. Nicely groomed nails, toenails, are always a plus for the ladies. Anything else you guys want to add?
No.
Tyler's going to talk a little bit about our internship program.
So we will be at the career fair next week, and we'll be there recruiting a lot of different candidates for full-time and college internship positions. Let me talk just a little bit about our college internship program. I'm our college unit director, so I'm in charge of kind of the mentoring and the growing of that program here in Albuquerque. We have a pretty unique offering here in Albuquerque in that we offer a nationally recognized top 10 internship program, and it's here in Albuquerque. You don't have to travel to Utah or to Canada or anything crazy like that. You can do it here in Albuquerque, and it's the only one of its kind in the state of New Mexico. So come by, talk with us. We can tell you a little bit more about what we're about. But like Marnie mentioned earlier, do some research about us and the other companies that'll be there. Come with some questions, and hopefully it'll be a great career fair for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Northwestern. Okay. I just want to borrow Marnie for a quick second. We did this last night. Can I borrow this just for a little second? It's lovely. Okay. So this is not an official. Oh, this is heavy. Wow, you get your weightlifting. Okay. So look at how Marnie is dressed right now in her lovely little suit. And okay, so looking really sharp, ready for the career fair. Look what happens when we add this, which is a lovely backpack. But look what happens when we add this to her look. Thumbs up or thumbs down? Probably thumbs down. That's right. So please don't go through all of the effort of making sure. Thank you so much for loaning us your backpack. Backpacks are wonderful. They're wonderful for school. They're not wonderful for the career fair. Please don't go through all that effort to make sure that you're professionally dressed and professionally prepared, and then come in lugging your giant, if you're like me, you have your entire life in your bag. Please don't bring that with you. Some better things to bring with you are, like, there's a little portfolio. Josh, can I just borrow this from you for a second? A little portfolio or padfolio like this that has some copies of your resume. Keep in mind that most folks will ask you to apply online, but just in case you're making a new connection who would like to see a copy of your resume right then, it's always nice to have a few copies of that, as well as some business cards. You can get them made out. Ms. Natalie Mead got us a wonderful deal at the UNM Copy Center. You can get 100 business cards for $10. So those are some nice things that you can have with you. Now, it's not that bags are banned, but just that you want to be mindful. Perhaps a briefcase or a very discreet sort of handbag that complements your outfit, again, in that neutral palette and color tones that's not going to detract from your professional presence and polish. So thank you. Just a quick note. Accessories really do count. You don't want to be white socks with black shoes guy. You don't want to be inappropriate skirt length girl, because recruiters, they actually will sometimes nickname people. And believe me, you want your nickname to be a good thing. You want to be a fantastic resume and great networking person, and not the one who, had on crazy tights that day. Okay, fantastic. So at this point, we have just about 10 more minutes, actually, no, we have a little bit more time. So what I'd like to do is just have you at your tables start practicing. Let's delve right back into that 30-second commercial. So you guys have had some time. You've had a little break, clear your minds a little bit. I want us to start practicing. So grab your sheets of paper, and because I know we're getting a little comfortable in our little table islands, I want you to get up out of your seats and go make a new connection with somebody at a different table. I'm shaking it up. So go ahead, practice your 30-second commercial on one another, and let's get going. Let's do that for about the next couple of minutes. Yeah. Get some feedback from some actual recruiters on how you're doing. You're ready. You can do it. Let's just practice introducing. You don't have to even look at the camera. Just look at me.
Hi, my name is Tanya Marcus, and I'm a business student at Anderson with a concentration in accounting. I'm experienced in QuickBooks, accounts payable, accounts receivable, and payroll functions. I'm looking for a possible internship or permanent position, willing to work with my school schedule. I'd like to follow up with you in a phone call to talk more about giving me information about your firm or possible open positions in the firm. I'm a fast learner, excited about learning new skills. I'm detail-oriented to the point of being anal at some point. I take control of situations in order to get the job accomplished in the most efficient manner.
Oh, well, I am excited to follow up with you next week, Miss Tanya. It was great to meet you.
Do you have a business card that I can have?
I do. That was a great example and a great follow-up. Thank you, Miss Tanya. Sorry to put you on the spot.
My name is Frankie Gonzalez, and I believe in excellence in results. And I accomplish this through my past experience and the hard work that I exhibit every day. I happen to be a junior at the Anderson School of Management, majoring in finance, and I'm looking for an internship in a company. And I would appreciate it if you could take a look at my resume.
Wow, that was fantastic. How did that feel?
Really nerve-wracking.
Really nerve-wracking because
Yeah.
I have to tell you, you deliver it with aplomb. That I love starting off with what you're about. I have to say, I love.
I really like that video you showed. It really hit me. It really got me.
Did it really?
Yeah.
It really? That's awesome. I think you're good to go. I think you are. Did you tell me your concentration? That was the only thing I wasn't sure I heard.
Finance. Maybe I should.
Yeah, just so you're a finance. Yeah.
Would it be good to be like I'm looking for an internship to like learn about this because I'm not. I
To
don't want
expand your skills so that you have academic preparation, but you're looking to apply those concepts in the professional setting.
Okay, so
That's
don't
what I was
necessarily
saying.
say like I'm looking to learn about this. Just be like
You're looking to gain more professional experience to apply those skills. Because remember, you want to show them that you're an asset to them, but that you also are telling them what you're all about.
for professional experience from things that I've like learned from my class.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Apply your academic experience in the real world context to get that professional experience.
She goes by Christine. I go by Frankie, but my name is Francisco, and her real name is Christine. But I always go by Frankie.
I think if you always go by Frankie, then you're fine introducing yourself as Frankie.
About Chrissy because a lot of the times when I say hi, I'm Chrissy, it's like Christy,
Yeah.
like it's a stutter. It's
Yeah.
Could you repeat that? So I feel like if I just go with Christina,
It's whatever you're most comfortable with. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, wonderful. Wonderful. Well, I know I definitely got a lot of people out of their comfort zones, but you guys all did great. And I would rather that you start doing it in this environment, which is really dedicated to development. So let's get those nerves out today. Okay, so I wanted to make sure that I left plenty of time for questions because I circulated across a couple of tables, and I know that you guys have questions for me, and you may have some questions for the recruiters from Northwestern Mutual. So now I'd just like to open up the floor. I hope that you guys have found this valuable and that you'll use these worksheets to help structure you and not feel as terrible. In any case, so at this point, I'd like to ask if anyone does have any questions about anything that we've covered, anything we didn't cover.
I think that in an interview situation, it's probably more appropriate to be wearing stockings and closed-toed shoes. And then you can gauge the type of work environment you're interviewing for. If it's something that is a little bit more casual, then you could go with the peep-toed shoes. In Albuquerque, overall, it's hot. It's the end of summer. I'm going to wear them until I can't anymore. That's my approach to it. But I've also been there for a little while. So in an interview situation, I would recommend you go in with closed-toed shoes, and if you are wearing a skirt, with pantyhose.
Yeah.
Question
Yeah,
about
Tanya.
that as well. Heels. You said no more than 3 or 4 inches. What if you wear flats?
Great question.
Flats.
I think that's appropriate, especially taller women do like to wear flats. They don't elevate themselves quite as much. Thank you. I don't know if you guys caught the last of that question. Flats for shorter or taller women, I think it's appropriate as long as they're dressy, especially if you're wearing pants that hit the ground, if they're floor length. What would you say?
Absolutely. I think I'm like double mic'd now. And I'm a loud person to begin with. So I think that the question of flats really kind of hit us a few years ago when everyone started wearing ballet flats. I would really be cautious about the type of flat, so material counts. So I think something that's leather, something that's more formal, that basically looks like a heel without the heel, if that makes sense, and just making sure that they're conservative, because certainly if you're 6 feet tall or you have foot problems, I'm not going to ask that you put on a pair of pumps and that you're miserable, especially because you'll be walking around at the career fair. But as long as they're polished and professional and not, made of kind of flimsy material or they're that soft fabric, I would say that those would be less professional as far as I'm concerned. But as long as they're not detracting from your wardrobe in that. Natalie, is that how you feel, or do you have different? Okay.
As professional as possible, maybe not a lot of glitz type thing on it.
Yeah.
Just keep them real simple.
Yeah. Great question. Yeah.
Black jacket, does it matter if you wear black slacks or is a different color slacks okay? Like dark brown?
No, go for it.
My preference is same colored suits. I know a lot of guys like to do the mix and match. My preference, I think it really depends on personal preference, but if I had a black jacket with a gray skirt, I think that would be appropriate as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's again that that balance. Once you've already landed the job, and especially if you're in like a more professional situation, it may be more appropriate to kind of mix and match with colors and add on the blazer. But if you're going for that power suit look, which we're encouraging people, I think that monochromatic, and certainly if you want to do something a little bit, we saw some frills on the blouses, nothing kind of over the top, but I think that monochromatic dressing sends a really powerful and simple statement as well. Yeah. Great questions. The person who's going to probably get the most attention, if it's a person in business casual or even in jeans as opposed to the person in the suit, the person in the suit is going to get more positive attention.
As far as questions goes, if I'm going to engage in small talk with a potential employee or company, is that inappropriate, or what type of small talk is appropriate?
That's a great question, and I'd love to hear from Northwestern Mutual as well. Certainly, and we've gotten a lot of questions about the format of the career fair. There are going to be tables. You're going to be walking up and approaching people. There may be multiple recruiters, and you may have the opportunity to kind of make some small talk. I would say stay away from contentious topics, talk about their day. I think it is appropriate to engage them in conversation because it is a conversation. It's a conversation in a very specific context, but I think that it is appropriate to approach it in that manner. But again, I don't know that I would, discuss politics, religion, any of those sort of hot button topics. I wouldn't launch in with that. So do you guys have any feedback about kind of the small talk guidelines? Tyler, you seem like you have something to say.
It's just like you would do if you're meeting a new client or a new person. You wouldn't want to just offend them right off the bat. And so if you just kind of talk about, wow, it's pretty crazy in here. Have you been having a good day? Or
first time to UNM,
just small conversation.
Yeah.
But make it conversational. It's also a really important point. You don't want to just jump right into, here's my resume, here's what I've done. I'm a robot. You want to just be like, I'm a human. We can talk. We're having a good time, because that's who you're going to remember more. You're like, I really connected to that person. I won't remember what you told me necessarily, but I'll remember the connection. So
Arnie said last night, the recruiters are people. They're not monsters who are, just trying to get out there and savage your resume. And the people who are recruiting here know that they're recruiting students. They have certain expectations, but they're not out to get you. It's not a contentious relationship. And remember that making that connection, absolutely deliver your elevator pitch, but remember to make that connection. Ask how they're doing, because it's not all about us. That's that mutually beneficial. So say hi, talk about the weather, how weird it is, it's overcast. Is it their first time to campus? Be mindful of how much time you're taking up, because it's going to be very busy in there. But that personal connection that Tyler's talking about is really, really important. You guys are people making connections together. It seems like a song. But it is all about that connection, okay? People meeting new people for a certain purpose. It's a great question. I think for me, that's really the way to do it, is to have the suit combo. I get a little bit more nervous, especially ladies with, dresses and a cardigan. For me, it's the suit. I don't know if Northwestern has something different that you guys are kind of looking for, but I think the suit is the safest and the easiest kind of advice across the board to give as that kind of measure. But do you guys have?
I have a lot of dresses. I like wearing dresses, but I think in that initial meeting, probably the suit is the way to go.
Yeah. And you guys don't have to spend a ton of money, and also look for places that will give you discounts as students. You can look up on their website. I know J. Crew has one of my favorite places to be, and some other stores as well. But I just go and see, and bring your Lobo ID with you when you go shopping. The other thing is, you don't have to shop for that super name brand suit. They're not going to ding you if you're not wearing a Prada or Versace suit. It's fine to go to the Gap. It's fine to go to Target. Just make sure that all the pieces match and are coordinated. You don't have to spend a ton of money to look great. They're not going to be judging you on the label on your suit, okay, but on the overall presentation.
If there are multiple people at the same table, is it good to try to talk to as many as possible, or is it better just to talk to one person at one company and then move on to the next one? And is there a better time to go to the job fair? Early, middle, late, or doesn't it really matter?
So I think it depends on your personal style of how you would like to interact with people. So consider that the peak times at the career fair will be right when it's kicking off, and there's going to be a big rush about 5 to 6 just as it's closing. Some people are getting off of work. So those are probably going to be peak times. And also remember, we're still in a recession. We're slowly climbing out of it. But you can expect pretty steady foot traffic, but I would anticipate about a couple of hours in that it might be a little bit slower. As for me, and this is speaking as a former recruiter, I would love it if you would introduce yourself to my entire team. That may not be practical or possible, and I of course want to defer to Northwestern Mutual, but I think that it's appropriate, again, because you're trying to be a friendly person, you're trying to make that good connection, and even if it's just a handshake, you don't have to go down and necessarily do the full 30-second commercial again over and over again, trying not to be a robot like Tyler was saying, but just a smile and a handshake, because it really, for me, I think that just goes such a long way. That's why we practice it. So everyone who's going to be at the career fair is going to be there because they're looking for new talent. And so regardless, and this is, I think probably especially relevant for accounting students, frequently they will send over a staff accountant or somebody like that. But remember that they still have been tasked with being at the career fair as the face of the company, looking for new talent. So I don't necessarily know that you need to tweak it so much, but you want it to be, if you're talking to Moss, are you accounting? Okay, so if you're talking to Moss Adams, you want to be talking about things that are relevant to them. And for accounting, a lot of it is really kind of broadly relevant across that sort of entire industry. But I don't think it generally should matter if it's an HR person or if it's a staff accountant, because they're still going to be saying, okay, Stephen had that great resume, he had that great handshake. You're still going to be making that similar impression. So it's a great question, but I would tell you, not to be too overly concerned about whether that's the hiring manager or if it's an accountant. They still want to know if they can work with you, right? Yeah, that's what they want to do. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to stick around a little bit after this, but I do just want to be mindful. I know there are people who have to go to classes. I hope that this was helpful. Please take all of the worksheets with you. Practice your 30-second commercial. Practice with me. Practice with any of us. Practice with your dog. Practice in the mirror. And I hope to see everyone at the career fair and that this has been a great experience and that you feel a little bit more prepared today. Let's just do another round of applause for everyone for making this commitment today. Great job. Thank you to Northwestern Mutual and to Banana Republic for partnering with us. And go out and have a great day. You guys made a great step towards being ready for next week.